Delighted also to say that somebody that knows Gael extremely well because he coached him, Roger Rashid, courtside. Hi, Roger.
G'day, guys. Great intro and really looking forward to this. It's humming down here.
Did you get your daughter in today or did you buy another ticket?
She's in Gael's box today. I told her that get smart.
Trying to bring your retirement a bit closer, not having to shell out for tickets.
Correct. It's quite good, isn't it? Because we've got Brad who decided he was going to sit on one side of the fence, and obviously I've got to lean with Gael, obviously, don't I? And so you're the adjudicator, Petch, today. Okay.
Tough place to be in a match like this. That is an absolute sidewinder of a serve. Kind of scary to think that's his off-pace delivery at 177 out wide.
Tough to get Gael Monfils off balance, uncomfortable there. He was struggling to get out to that ball. Interesting already, a little bit of the game inside the game. We see Gael on first serve has been returning from a pretty neutral position in this game.
Well, that is a very interesting rally.
I mean, Gael lifting and shaping every ball in that rally, basically not giving Ben much of anything to play with, but also keeping him pinned in the back of the court until he finally was able to get a little bit of an advantage there.
Well, already in the opening game, we've seen what we're going to get between these two. A little cat and mouse at times from Gael there in the opening game. As a 218 body serve comes in from Ben Shelton. He has tipped the scales at 227 for this tournament. A little bit of a breeze is there, Roger. I just saw Gael's shirt blowing, or not?
There's not much in it, to be honest.
Not much?
Patch.
Okay.
No, it's not really a lot in it. And it will be a cat and mouse game. And Gael generally at those points, those 30-odd points, there'll be two ways. He gives you no pace and says, hit your way through me, which, you know, is difficult, or he decides to get around and actually unload on the ball a bit, which is what he did with Taylor. He controlled a lot of proceedings and then gave him that off-pace ball. So he will also get a lot of balls in play. What I'll be interested to see with Ben is how often will he make that entry into the forward half, which Taylor didn't do. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, aren't we?
With respect to, there's the tail of the tape in terms of the tournament. Opelka equal with Shelton. My namesake topping the tail, just like my serve. What are you laughing at?
Mpechi. Didn't know you guys were related.
Super interesting the way that he served this tournament. Brad and Roger, actually, you can both chip in here in his opening 3 rounds for Gael. Dropped 54 aces. Averaged very different speeds through the tournament. Opening round, 188 Ks on his first serve, 157 on his second. Second round match against Altmaier, 177 on his first, 146 on his second. That is a strong two-hander. Against Taylor, he was just coming with heat. Averaged 190 Ks on the first serve, 167 on the second. question to both of you is why? Why is it that different?
Well, I did those first two matches, and realistically against his Frenchman, he was just trying. He needed more balls in play because he knows he doesn't return that well, and he didn't. But he knew he needed to against Taylor. He knew he needed to try and own more of the balls that came into play, and actually wanted. So he went a little bit bigger because he respected what Taylor brings to the court off the back of the court, more so than I guess his previous opponents.
Let's for service. Gael Monfils.
I was just long, but boy, was that travelling.
This is one of the flatter, longer swings I've ever seen from Ben Shelton. I actually absolutely loved that swing.
Fascinating strategic battle coming up here.
As quick as you can, please. Thank you.
Big shift already for Ben, that he can't really feel as though he's got the luxury to serve and volley against that deeper position of Gael, like he did against Musetti, who beat in the previous round in 4 sets. Toughed him out, the Italian, in a breaker in the 4th. But a lot of second serve and volleys from the American. Gael with much bigger speed from back there and the athleticism to perhaps pick up the first volley. Going to have to be a little more circumspect with that particular play, is Shelton.
I always find Gael's ready position and returning very interesting. You know, we talk so much about Novak and how wide his stance is. Gael's stance is very narrow. He puts his elbows on his knees, basically, right there, kind of like just holding that position, and then stands up into his as he makes his split step and comes forward a little bit. But I've always found it. An interesting position. I don't know
but he does
that.
No, I mean the start of it is super interesting, but the actual finishing point is what you would want, right?
Absolutely
because
normal.
he splits wide.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just another variation of, you know, kind of in the end he gets to.
Must have been from the Rashid area.
I wonder if Roger was demanded that.
Does it really matter how you start?
No, it doesn't, Roger. That's kind of the point. But
Yeah.
it's interesting. It gives us. It's a
Correct.
completely different look than you see from anybody else when he's in that first position.
It's quite relaxed, isn't it? And that's, I guess that just goes to a little bit of his demeanour, is that he tries to keep himself in a pretty relaxed.
Yeah, and that's what it
initial
looks
point,
like. It
and
looks
then
very relaxed.
And then he just jumps into that motion that matters the most.
funny too. Sometimes you get this, and Ben at 40 love there.
40-13.
You know, goes for, he hit a second serve 215 doubles. Seems like a bit of a insignificant situation, and then all of a sudden now you've got an unforced error here from the baseline, and this point creates a tiny bit of pressure.
Gael Shelton.
But he also threw down the heat seeker on a second serve at 40 love at the right time to do it, to keep Monfils honest. 3 games gone, on serve, 2-1. Roger, talk me through your time with Gael.
Well, it was pretty. It was a great relationship. We had a lot of fun. Our initial conversation, well, for Gael was, I need to be led, Roger. You need to teach me how to become a real competitor. So he wanted to sort of roll up his sleeves. So he was buying into everything. And then it was about, you know, I remember our first match in Toronto. I said, "Oh, you're not moving further than a metre behind the baseline. Let's see what the outcomes were." He lost to Andreev 6-6, but came into net like 35 times. It was so good, and I was trying to get him to understand that being proactive, using your weapons forward, was extremely more dangerous, and I love that part about him.
Time.
And we love that look. A little cloudier, but definitely a tougher day for some of the players to be out there, as
quickly,
we've been
please.
seeing.
Thank you.
Ben's route through's been relatively comfortable. You're not going to win too many of these slams at this age without dropping sets, and he's dropped a couple. He took care of Nakashima in 3 tight ones, though, 6-5 and 5. The veteran Spaniard Carina Busto's had so many problems with his elbow. He got past in 4 sets, dropped the 3rd on a breaker. And the number 16 seed, Lorenzo Massetti, bronze medalist from the Paris Olympics, he gets past in 4 sets. That was always going to be a tight tussle, so it proved to be. Roger, he's not always used the serve as effectively as he is at the moment. He's always had the pace.
Yeah, I think that he's ebbed and flowed a little bit on how he's dealt with the serve. Again, he's just got such a big imagination. It's like he likes to manipulate the ball a little, you know, at times. And you're right, I like the heat, to be honest.
40 love.
Who wasn't like that?
Please.
Some serious offense out of that for him. That's the thing about Gael. We were talking about the serve. I feel like whether it's the serve or whether it's the ground strokes, coming forward, like you're talking about, Raj, whatever it is, one of the things that makes Monfils so interesting to watch and also so difficult to play is his unpredictability. He'll massage the ball around the court for 3, 4, 5 shots, and then all of a sudden he stands on a ball like that, and you're like, where'd that come from? Wasn't expecting that, and he's always kind of been like that.
And he's been able to massage around the court because when he's had to go full defence, you know, it's hard to get past him. So it's just getting the combination right that affects the opponent as much as you can.
Not even he can get that classy clinical volley from Shelton. It's good stuff early on here in the opening 15 minutes.
Actually, both these players would be like that, aren't they, Brad and Mark? Because all of a sudden they can explode on the ball. There's not too many players out there that can have dramatic change of pace on a particular shot. these two can.
Absolutely.
I know he's lost that point, but one of the things I love about Gael is how fast he moves from a very stationary position. You see so many players sort of jumping around little steps. He actually just keeps his feet on the ground, in contact with the ground, so he can push either way. And his first step out of that position is just lightning fast.
Yeah, I personally am not a fan of a big split step, a high split step. You see that a lot a little bit in the lower levels, I think. I think the higher level you watch and see the game at, the more regularly you see players that make a very low split step. They're actually they make a clear split step, but it happens as close to the ground as they can probably. It's hard to change direction once you're in the air.
Yep, unless you're in a sort of Marvel movie. Ben Shelton has been a bit of a Superman the last couple of seasons. He's 3-2 up. Yeah, I know you're big on that as well, Roger, in terms of movement. I don't know what your thoughts on that. But obviously, Novak is a double split step, isn't it, at times, to keep his muscles active and keep himself close to the ground.
Yeah, well, just to give you, let's use another sport.
Yep.
The 100-metre sprinters, if you watch them out of the blocks, they are short steps and fiery steps until they get into stride. That first 15 metres, they are quick with their speed, but really small steps. It's quite amazing how small their movement is through there. So they don't take their feet, as Brad said. Feet aren't off the ground long, but they're impacting with power.
Time.
So great to see Gael back at the Australian Open. There were some doubts mid-2022 whether he was going to come back. He had hurt that heel, which he needed surgery on after Madrid of 2022. He'd actually talked about it recently at one of the exhibition events. There's Svitolina, who was pregnant at the start of that year as well. That was something else that obviously was going to become new and special for him. But he talked about a family member having a serious injury in the middle of that particular year in 2022. And he was actually pretty much done with tennis at that stage. He was happy with his career.
Let's for service.
Wasn't entirely sure he was going to come back from the heel surgery and be as good as he was before. But ranked 390, Jeremy Shardy, who runs the UTS exhibition events, alongside Patrick Moritoglu, called him and said, "We need you. We want you to come. You're perfect for this format. Come back." And that was the kind of start of the motivation for Gael. The Olympics, as I say, was a big hook for him last year. And slowly but surely, he did come back. He tried to play in 2022 in Canada, played 3 matches there before wrapping up the season, just wasn't fit enough. Came back in Indian Wells in 2023. Played just 1 match there, then injured himself in Miami with his wrist. Too good from Ben. Well, picked up the title in Stockholm at the back end of that season, which was the nice push into 2024 for Gael Monfils.
You know, for me, Mark, one of the other windows into Gael's mentality and where he finds his passion and his joy about playing the game came during COVID. And when we came back from COVID, he talked openly about how he didn't enjoy it, didn't enjoy playing to empty stadiums. Couldn't find his motivation, he said, playing to stadiums that didn't have anybody there. He needed the crowd, needed the audience. I mean, he really is a showman. He gets energy, he gets passion from making the people that are here watching the match happy and them enjoying seeing what he can do as a tennis player.
Just following on from that, I remember when we first started, I was quite bemused that he hadn't been playing many Davis Cup matches at all. And I had a conversation with the Federation and said, you need to be playing him in Davis Cup because he's perfect for the Davis Cup environment, representing his country.
Take your seats.
Where he's got, you know, you've got that audience that actually just love the passion of Davis Cup, and you know, I thought that was it. And I thought that would also allow him his trajectory to rise quicker by having those good feelings and emotions.
That's just nasty. So far up the box, the clearance to drop that ball that short in the box.
That would have been his quickest of the tournament had it gone in. 2-2-9 from Shelton.
Mark, there is a little bit of breeze that it's now picked up in the stadium, but it's a bit swirly. It's not really firing down one end. What returning position are you looking for, Brad, with, say, Tommy Paul's playing this big serve, Shelton?
I mean, for me, I think it's a chess match, isn't it? I think you play the score a little bit. I think you adjust your positions. Don't give him just one position to look at on a consistent basis. Back a little bit closer, neutral position, move a little bit left and right as well as you get into the match and you start to get a feel for from Ben, but as you start to get a feel for, you know, on bigger points, where's he targeting? Is he going to come at your forehand or come at your backhand? And it's tough with Ben because he does a great job of moving the ball around the box and trying to predict where he's going to go on any particular serve is not easy because he can hit all the spots. And on first serve especially, it comes in so big. And then on seconds, again, it's about if you stand too deep, he's probably going to serve and volley. That doesn't necessarily bother me.
That was a good play.
That was an interesting play. I mean, it's something that I actually mentioned this the other day with a different match. But here, Ben, high ball right in the middle of the court, goes right through the middle of the court. That's become much more common in men's tennis. The guys go through the middle of that court, and much more common that the guy who's defending, Gael in this case, actually stayed at home, just stayed right in the middle of the court. That almost put Gael in the first row.
Yeah, and it's going to be a very useful tool today to keep Monfils at bay. The slider out wide from Shelton. Sits down, 4-3 in front. A lot of nice new group of Americans kind of making their way deeper into slams. It feels as though the start of something a little bit special once again for American men's tennis. Opportunity potentially to have 4 men get through to the quarterfinals of this year's Australian Open, and that would be the most here since 1995 in the halcyon days of Agassi, Chang, Courier, Krickstein and Sampras. Of course, it's been pretty good recently here with the likes of Korda, your man Tommy Paul and Ben Shelton getting through to the quarters in 2023.
Time.
Ben so quickly to get himself into semi-finals. Youngest American man in the US Open semis when he made it since 1992. First set of balls will use for 27 minutes as Gael steps up to the line with new ones, 3-4. Should tennis balls be used for a certain amount of time rather than per the amount of games?
It's a good question, Mark. Never heard that question before. Makes sense, though. I mean, any given game, you have games that go 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and then other times, you know, they're barely over a minute. So obviously the wear and tear on the balls becomes different. So if you're looking for consistency, it would seem to make sense that you change them after time instead of the number of games. But why would we want consistency in pro tennis? We play with a different ball every week. We're one of the few sports that plays on, I mean, we play on 4 different surfaces. As Rafa said one time, we're the only sport that plays in a parking lot. Talking about hard courts. I think we're the only sport that plays on dirt.
It'd be lovely to Gael Monfils. You can plant yourself in the middle of the court and pretty much be guaranteed you're going to be able to track down any single shot. Most players are kind of playing off center, trying to anticipate the angle that you've just created.
Yeah, when you said it must be nice to be Gael Monfils, I thought, you know, it'd be like one of those movies where you switch bodies. I mean, how much fun would it be to be Gael Monfils for a few games of tennis and just have that speed available to you? And that the concentration, the freeness in his strokes.
4 games on.
Roger, do you think that Gael's lost a step at all since when you spent time with him?
I mean, it would be very marginal, but I think when he's feeling good, which he is at the moment, I know that, if he needs to turn the burners on, they're there. And we do know, obviously, as you get older at this age, you know, most players are really struggling to find that electricity, that initial, when their mind says go, it doesn't quite go. Whereas Gael's still got that, and that's why he's still so relevant, really. And because he can actually hit the ball as big as he can, and we have that variety, he's just still relevant. He could be, mate, he could be hit till he's 50 with his athletic ability. I just don't think, and you know, if you know his dad's actually super athletic and strong still.
please.
It's given Gael a nice little diet of something different on that second serve when he's been ahead in the score. Just making sure he can still access the serves that he wants to when things get 30 all juice. Once again, that serve harvesting many points for Ben Shelton, even against somebody like Gael Monfils. 5-4 to the American opening set. Great lift-off from Shelton. Power in the serve, Roger, would you agree, comes from the legs?
Yes, absolutely. And he's just obviously well, you know, his legs and body and the rhythm, he's just so connected, isn't he? I love the ball toss as well, Margaret.
We're just having a look at your real estate portfolio here, actually, Roger.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not, yeah. It looks like you've decorated it very nicely. You should be the governor, although you are the governor of Adelaide, actually, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's what they call you down there.
Yeah.
There was never going to be anything else but a battle out here today between the Frenchman and the American. Do know that Gael was in Dubai. That was the last bit of pre-season that he had with his wife, Lena Svitolina. They sort of topped up all the work that they'd done in Dubai and the heat and humidity there. He was turning up. He was playing points within about 5 minutes of turning up. He's not going to start grinding at 38 years of age. After finishing his practice, he'd head off to the paddle courts, put in a good hour and a half, 2 hour shift on the paddle courts, and post that would be on the basketball court. He is in good shape.
That's what we used to call cross training. No one really says that anymore, but.
I sort of don't like that rally set up for Ben, because it's okay to think you can go off the back of the court with Gael. It's hard to get past him. It's exactly what Taylor Fritz was doing. I think for Ben, get excited about trying to make his way forward and just challenge the pass.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Roger.
He's got to be a disruptor, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He's probably not going to beat Gael the majority of the baseline rallies. He's going to get his shots, but over the course of the match, I mean, he needs to apply that pressure and come forward. His goal from the back should be to create opportunities to come forward.
I think that is such an important shot for Ben Shelton today. Forehand down the line. He's got to stop Gael from staying in that backhand corner, but just doesn't want to get caught in that trade too often. He's actually hit it very well in these early 10 games in this match.
That was the first bit of real pressure for either guy. 30 all point.
40-13.
Gael handled that well. Nice little serve and one. Such good balance on the last ball. 101 miles per hour.
101. Didn't have much to work with. Had to generate it all.
That all came from him.
Gael Monfils.
Wonder what his season would have looked like had he lost his opening match in Auckland. He was playing Pedro Martinez, lost the opening set in 23 minutes, 6-1. In not too dissimilar a time, he found himself 5-2 down in the second set, and he was also 4-1 down in the second set breaker. Came back to win it, and not only that, won the tournament.
Wait, please. As quick as you can, please, behind the players. Thank you.
Brought the confidence to Melbourne, picked up his first top 5 win at a Grand Slam since beating Ferrer at Roland Garros in the quarterfinals back in 2008.
Let's for service.
Despite his illustrious career, the Frenchman had never beaten a player inside the world's top 4 until he took care of Taylor Fritz at a Grand Slam.
That's a bit of a shocker. I would have never guessed that. Nicely done by Ben. Good depth on that approach shot.
So again, that's what you're looking to do, because if you do get a good strike in and Gael's a long way behind, yes, he's got power from there and he's got creativity, but surely you're backing your forward half craft in.
Yeah, pretty tough to pass consistently from that deep in the court. It's a few times now that Gael's missed on that little block forehand return. That's a return that you want to feel like you're going to put in play virtually every single time. You're not trying to do a lot with the ball there. Absorb the pace and just blocking it back in. It's frustrating at times, I feel like, when you feel like you're not trying to do very much with that.
Gael Shelton.
Gael check out, or did he think it was going out?
Shelton
Certainly saving himself for the 12th game as Shelton wraps up the 11th comfortably without dropping a point. 6-5. A couple of players that have barely been dropping serve this tournament. 4 times for Gael in the course of his run through to this 4th round match, and just 3 for Ben. It was always going to be nip and tuck. If you're preparing, Brad, a player for this match, it is patience is going to be a key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get anxious if you're not creating too much pressure. Yeah,
absolutely, because you're not going to get a lot of chances. Chances are going to come few and far between returning against both these guys. So you've got to be patient, as you said. I think from Gael's standpoint, like I said, it's a little bit frustrating to miss some of those little easy, I say easy, but little block forehands.
I mean, they were easy for us.
Yeah, for you maybe, or for Raj, but from Ben's standpoint, you know, he's taking a little bit bigger cut at the serves. But I've mentioned it before, you know, it's always the match within the match, and especially when you're playing Ben, is serve and return. Can you get enough balls in play to try and put some pressure on him? And it works the same way with Gael in a lot of ways, because he can serve big, he can keep you off balance. And we've seen that so far in this set. No real opportunities from either guy. Ben's changing things up here, though, with the headband. Either that or he's trying to keep his ears warm.
Got him. If you were coaching against Gael, Roger, would you try and go back behind him, or is that not a good play from your experience?
Yeah, I'd go to the other side. I wouldn't go back behind him. He's pretty good in that space.
Okay. Oh, he's just nudged it long.
And the reason I say that, Pitch, is because he's quick to adapt and he's got power, natural power out of his arm. He can still accelerate and find strength.
Quality strikes there from Gael.
And they're hard for Ben to pick because when he shapes up, he actually can hook it last minute. So he can play that off forehand, or he can just hook it inside in. It's actually hard to decide where you're going to sit if you're Ben.
Going back to that same theme, Roger, I mean, Ben could have attacked off that backhand. The backhand that Gael took down the line, it's a little bit short. It didn't have a lot of pace on it. Kind of massaging that ball in. Ben can attack off that ball, waited an extra shot, and then he's put on defense.
Agree.
Gael Monfils.
First set bigger for Gael than Ben.
6 games all, tiebreaker.
I mean, obviously, we're just going with age bias there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because he's 38.
And also he's spent a bit of time on court for sure coming into this. I mean, now he's got some work on the legs, but doesn't seem to look affected in that way at all so far.
They're in the shade as well, so that helps.
Yeah.
And the last tiebreak Gael played on this court was epic. It
was 5-love up, wasn't he?
Yep, it was good at 5 points, as you could have seen. I asked him after, I said, how's that tiebreak? He goes, I just don't know what I was doing. It just was happening.
That return put Ben in such an awkward position. Such an awkward position. That first ball was not comfortable for him at all from there.
And if you've done your homework, you know, Gael will start the rally like that in those key points. So he goes a long way back, and so to see a volley for Ben wouldn't have been a bad play as an element of surprise. Again, that spread in baseline rally, it's not going to be in your favour.
2-0. Monfils.
Ben needs to keep his energy high here. He's looking a little bit dejected right now. Body language is not great.
That was a nice response. I think he's struggling a little bit on that side still with the shadow. Give it another few minutes and it'll probably be out of his eyes. But that was a nice recovery. Couldn't allow Monfils to get too far away from him.
Two all.
Well, he knew he needed to rob the ball of the bounce on the other side because Gael was on its way, or was on his way, and that's exactly what Shelton achieved here. Smothered the bounce, and he did exactly what Roger said he should do. How loudly are you speaking, Rog?
I'm aggressive down here.
Take some commission for that point.
3 all.
I'm not sure about the call. Nothing that the umpires can do, of course. James Kyothwon can look on. There'll be no question. Reviews daily of how accurate the calls are. Rashad Langford on the right of Brian, physical trainer. And then Hanneken from Argentina is physio looking after him now these days. Well untidy from Gael.
4-3. Shelton.
Fascinated to see where Ben goes here. He's obviously got the 220 plus delivery down the tee if he wants it, but the sidewinder has been ultra effective.
Seems to me he's been going wide to the backhand a little bit more often in this match than he did even against Musetti with the one-hander.
$1K below his fastest of the tournament. Simplifies things and just went huge. What a time to deliver two of your best serves. So far, Monfils unable to replicate that breaker he played against fellow American Taylor Fritz. 3-set points, Shelton.
sets.
And in the end, it came gift wrapped by the double fault from the Frenchman. The American takes a tight opening set here on the breaker, 7-6. Do you think there's some gains to be had on that side from Ben in terms of the return position where he turns so wide and is back down the court? Even there in the rally situation at times you feel as though he steps right across his body.
Well, that's a function. That's something I know that Brian and he have been aware of, that he has his initial move on the return, and sometimes when he gets caught and has to make a really quick step when he's going out to the backhand side, he doesn't go out with his outside foot first. He goes across and gets caught there on that.
Gael Monfils.
I know it's something that they've paid attention to. They're trying to get him to break down and change.
When you say outside leg, so Ben on the due side, he's standing there. It's his right leg,
his right foot. Your normal
open.
Yeah, your normal, exactly. You open that step and go with your right foot a little bit before you come across, and that's it. You can go on the internet and find a million films of Novak. He's the perfect guy to watch making that exact move. And Ben has a tendency to hold the right foot in that position and then step across, and it closes his hips up. And
It's going to take like a medical or not? It's going to take like a medical?
Yes? You want me to call?
I know Andy, when after the hip surgery, that was one of the things he talked about, was that he was always able to feel his hip open. I mean, this is how nuanced these great players are. Mikael Tillström looking after Gael Monfils as his coach. And that was the one thing he felt after the resurfacing that wasn't quite the same for him on the return. You get any sense of what that was, Rogers, just quickly or not?
Sorry, I wasn't. I actually took my earpiece out to go to get something. Sorry, I missed that.
at least you owned up to it, Roger.
Good response from down the line again, this time from Gael, and not sure whether the physio's been called. It seems as though something has transpired, because James Guthron got on the phone to whoever he needed to. I'm interested to know, Brad, in your expert opinion and your experience, how long would a change that for many people would seem quite simple would it take?
Obviously, it depends on the person, but you know, it's a matter of repetition with that. It's actually something that we dealt with Tommy as well on the deuce side. On his forehand side, he had that same tendency where he would just come across with the foot, and I give plenty of credit to Franco Herrero, our strength and conditioning coach, because he incorporated that movement, and just trying to repeat that movement over and over again. We would do a lot of it, you know, just in warm-ups, for example. If you're playing practice sets, you know, while the other guy's serving, just work on taking that outside foot and making the turn the way you want to get it. It takes a little bit of time, and it's hard during tournaments sometimes to make those kind of adjustments, because once you get into the competitive mode, you're kind of just letting yourself do what comes naturally. You don't want to have to think about that. So I would say for a change like that, you know, you're probably really, before you own it and it feels completely normal and natural, and you basically don't do it the other way, the wrong way, I would say you're probably looking at 3 to 6 months, maybe, depending on the person.
Great patience for Ben. He hasn't won many of those.
Yeah, that was well done. One thing Ben's done in this match from the start is that he's used his backhand slice a little bit more. He's aware of the fact that he doesn't have to be adding pace all the time or trying to take time away from Gael, because Gael so often is not necessarily trying to hurt him. And then he will hurt him now and then with balls like that.
That's 9 on the money as ever. Been about a 6% uptick in terms of the use of the slice backhand today for Ben compared to his previous matches coming into this one. Pains me to say that he's got it right.
I didn't even look at the stats. Got a computer in my head now. No, I think it's a smart play from Ben, because so often you know that Gael's just kind of looking to rally and maneuver the ball a little bit, so you don't need to take as much risk for Ben trying to really light up a backhand every single time.
Gael Monfils.
Swift serve, swift hold. 3 quick games at the start of this second set. 2-1.
But 2 games to 1.
And Paul Ness out onto court, and this is and it looks as though it's going to be a restrapping of the wrist for Gael, maybe a little too tight and just cutting into him, or maybe not quite enough support, but that was something that you could see the physio was already well aware that Gael had.
I think he just told Paul that he's okay with just the tape and he'll strap it up himself.
James Gilthorne just telling Ben Shelton that he might as well get up and get out. This isn't going to be a long MTO. In fact, I don't think it's gone down as an official MTO at the moment. Otherwise, he's going to have to take one, because it looks like James is using some common sense. That's not always the first port of call in this sport.
It's equipment and stuff, you know, because look, I'm sweating and crazy, you know, it's not, I don't need help, it's just like this. It's just I'm sweating and watch. Don't need any more supplies.
And just hanging around. I think Ben's also just asking whether, you know, where does this sit? Is it an MTO? Is it just a changeover? I think it's gone down just as a changeover here for Monfils. It's just elongated it just a bit.
Yeah,
by a minute or two.
It's interesting though for me, you know, Mark, you said you know, maybe we're lacking in a little bit of common sense. I'm maybe more of I'm a rules or the rules kind of guy. You know, there's a certain amount of time that you get in the changeover, and he can ask for a medical timeout. He can ask to have, you know, he's going to get more time. It's not like he's going to get a point penalty or something, but you know, he's also making Ben wait, which is a little bit unfair in a way. And I don't like that. I think that, the rules should be applied consistently. It should be the same for everybody.
Continue.
Hasn't quite settled yet, has he, the Frenchman, in this particular game?
I like that play, though. You've got to persist with it. Big moments, they'll reward you.
He's going to have to potentially work a little bit harder or just be a little more successful earlier in the game on Ben's serve, because he's getting behind in the count quickly, and it's just almost impossible against somebody that serves as well as Shelton to recover that deficit.
Yeah, those first couple points so significant. And hanging around with that return.
40-30.
That is
Shelton.
a huge forehand from Shelton. Monfils posed the question with the nothing ball up the middle, and Shelton gave him an emphatic answer.
.100-mile-per-hour winner from Ben. It's an interesting give and take there, isn't it? I'm not sure if I love that play or not. I think that, it's not bad to give him that ball. If you hit that ball just a little bit deeper, you're probably okay. If you get it to the backhand, you're for sure okay. But hanging that in the middle of the court where that was to Ben's forehand, his offside forehand is his favorite and his most dangerous shot.
The most reliable way to predict the future is to create it, isn't it? And it's finding that balance on the tennis court.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally different scenario if you lob that ball down the middle of the court on breakpoint down rather than at 40-30 up.
Comes back with a couple of big serves to the Shelton forehand. Ben, again, as Gael has a few times, trying to block those balls back into play and just unable to control it.
What's Gael's percentage, first percentage of balls in? He was quite high in his last round against Taylor, and that went a long way to his success.
You're talking about first serves then?
Yeah, first serves.
Yeah, this set he's at 86. Match overall, he's pretty close to 70%. Whips another one out wide. Puts another ace down, his 5th of the match. And after 5 games, the second, we're at 3-2. And these are the kind of moments in tennis matches where you're kind of treading water, really, by both players. Both serving well.
Yeah, absolutely. First set, we're on a similar path right now that we were on in the first set. Both guys holding pretty comfortably. We had a couple of 30-alls, but other than that, guys holding pretty comfortably and progressing through the sets. And then all of a sudden, things heat up as we get to the later stages. But neither guy's been able to make a really big impression on the other guy's serve so far.
Outside Tennis Center, the iconic MCG. So many great moments on that particular wicket. Flying high above the MCG. As you got the Aussie Rules Stadium over there on the left, and Melbourne Park behind. Not quite as many spectators, of course, coming through the grounds on the second week, as there's not quite the same multitude of matches and singles out there on the outside courts, but still a very healthy stream of fans coming into the grounds today. Packed stadium courts. All eyes on this one.
15.
Hard to track your eyes on that one.
That's a bomb. I'll tell you what, anyone that's been here live during this first week and a couple days has been very aware of the increase in the crowds.
Somehow that's been called in. Gael had to take a bit off there, Roger, to get to the ball on the right step.
He sure did.
How did that fall in?
He thought about letting that ball go. He was a little bit late on the volley.
Here's another one of those chips. Gail's normally very good at blocking that ball back. Hasn't quite found his range today, has he?
I think he was actually out in front of that ball. That's an excellent backhand from Ben.
Gael also has been pretty good against lefties at slams on hard courts. Won 9, lost 3, and the only man that's got him was Nadal as a lefty. And he's 7-8 against left-handers in his recent meetings on a hard court on the tour. So this style of play in general has been one that he's enjoyed. That forehand getting into the backhand, not so much today.
3 games on.
And also, he naturally slices his serve, so that also does help as well, especially his second serve. It's not a kick serve. It's not that sort of shaped ball. It's a ball that generally slides out wide on the first and through the middle on the second.
Led for service.
play from Ben, forcing the play a little bit. Exactly what Raj said earlier. Good little block forehand return that time, and Gael just kind of poking that back into the court.
Oh my goodness, that was close.
Absolute repeat of the first point, except for a chip backhand to start the point, but Ben had almost the exact same approach shot. Gael making the lob this time, and
I think somehow Gael wanted that to go over.
I agree.
If you know what I mean.
yeah.
Play on.
30-15.
Sixth ace, one more than his opponent.
14.
Two more. Similar set developing here in the second as we had the first. 4-3 Monfils. Monfils looking to pick up a couple of multiple victories against top 20 players at a Grand Slam for just the second time in his career. We talk about how you need to beat the elite to go deep in these tournaments. He hasn't quite been able to do that often enough. Last time and only time he did it was in the 2014 US Open. Beat Gasquet, fellow Frenchman, in the third round, and another one of Roger's charges, Grigor Dimitrov, in the round of 16. Hopefully Grigor is going to be able to recover from the hip problem that has plagued him over the last sort of season that seems to flare up from time to time. It's been great to see him back in the sort of form that we saw in 2024.
Time.
Couple of nations on the men's side that have been looking for Grand Slam champions for a while. Of course, the French, well known. Yannick Noah, the last man to lift a Grand Slam trophy for them back in 1983. Roland Garros, a little more recent for the Americans. Andy Roddick in 2003 in New York.
I think this is the first game. Gael's won the first point of the game. Pretty sure. My stats man is looking it up.
His name's also Mark.
Not the most classic technique of return right here, but in play is always a good thing. And then Ben just gets it wrong on the volley. First time we've had some real pressure on someone's serve here. And a look at his second serve now. as you said earlier, Mark, we saw him club that one off the court. Similar ball, but score, pressure, makes a difference in your ability to execute.
Just the second game, actually, Brad, that he's managed to nick the opening point.
And that was a mistake there from Gael, wasn't it? He actually could have got around and really started dictating play with his forehand. They had plenty of time, decided to get into a off-pace rally. That may be really costly in this game.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ben, with that serve, is more than capable of erasing break points just as quickly as they come.
First break points of the match, and the last of this sequence of 3 for the Frenchman. Sort of stabby pass, wasn't it? Didn't totally commit to it. Ben winning those big pressure points, the 30-all points, the juice points, the break points, the obvious ones. Will that trend remain the same here? He's been brave, courageous, got himself into the forecourt. Not something that Taylor Fritz felt he could do in the previous match against the Frenchman.
Yeah, that's the same thing that Roger was saying on the first break point. Gael there chipping a forehand in the second ball, a ball that I think he could have easily come over and lifted cross court. Find the Shelton backhand on that ball, extend the rally a little bit.
What a huge hold that is. The best chance coming from Monfils on the opening sequence of break points. Didn't capitalize. Shelton keeps him at bay. So impressive. Flighted the slice to perfection, didn't he? Deep into the court. And he has ripped a couple of forehands that's pushed Monfils even further behind the baseline.
Yeah, one of the best points we've seen from Ben Shelton. Really good maneuvering the ball around, patient, finding the short ball finally to put some pressure.
Gael's wife looking on, a winner already today. Took care of Kudermetova out there to move through to her third quarterfinal.
That's classic Gael Monfils tennis right there.
Ben's irritated with himself there for hoisting the lob. Feels as though he should have gone for the more aggressive tweener here.
Coutinho.
The Achilles heel of Ben Shelton sometimes is just a lack of consistency within his stroke production. You can go through periods. Here we saw a couple of points back to back there with forehands that are not that difficult really, where he's just a little bit erratic.
How much is it mindset thinking about trying to hit a winner rather than like almost a sort of a positional forehand? Particularly not the last one I'm thinking of, the one prior to that, short angle, get him off the court.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the target, he hit that ball long. The target for me should be 8 feet inside the baseline there, and if you're going to miss it, you'd probably miss it wide trying to break the sideline there.
Juice.
Interesting choice from Gael.
Just watching Ben there, he's shadowing his forehand, not feeling that comfortable on that wing, as Brad's saying. Will Gael target that side? Can he find some rhythm on serve?
Advantage, Monfils.
These last 2 games, other than the breaker in the first set, have been the most interesting of the match, really. Just a little bit more intensity, a little bit more pressure for each guy having to deal with things here. That was much better. That was the forehand we were talking about. Gael pulling the trigger on the exact same kind of ball, much shorter in the court, breaking the sideline. Ben's contact point, even on that ball, which he executed on, Ben's contact point sometimes gets a little deep in the pocket, and then he has to use a lot of hand and wrist to try and catch the racket head up and kind of flick the racket head to create the topspin for safety, and sometimes it just gets out of control.
Couple of games here that may get away from Monfils, both of which he should have taken. Can Shelton take a stranglehold on this second set with this break point?
And at the moment, you feel like a little bit that Gael just needs that first ball to drop, don't you?
Goodness me, that is a good point. That was a really beautifully constructed point. He coaxed one backhand in the middle there without trying to rush himself.
Yeah, much more controlled on that approach shot. Monfils trying to continue to play that kind of rope-a-dope, like give you the slow ball and let Ben punch himself out a little bit, but just too short there. Gives him the opportunity to attack, and that just creates pressure instantaneously for Gael. Erases that break point with the first serve goal.
Gael talks in the presser after his last win against Fritz about the influx of French supporters here in the last few years. Much greater density of them. And their chance will be encouragement to him to get himself through and somehow scramble to safety in this 9th game. It's not yet comfortable. An absolute rocket of a forehand in the middle of that rally from Ben Shelton.
Ben needs to keep applying that pressure. Gael has not proven yet that he can pass him on a consistent basis. A lot of the time he's gone straight through the middle of the court and just given Ben a chance to play a volley.
Took the needle above the 200K mark again. He can sit down now on his island of reflection, relieved that he's held on to his serve. 5-4, second set to Monfils.
Monfils leads by 5 games to 4.
And gather all the energy that he has for a big push here to potentially try and get away, to get back on level terms, give himself that lift. That was a tough hold. Some of it was self-inflicted. Roger, you know him well. Is there any sense that he's just tiring a bit or not?
No, I think we're just getting a bit of, you know, he can sometimes give you that visual, can't he? But, you know, when push comes to shove now and you step out and you're 5-4 up, you win that first point, he can just come to life and explode and take it, you know, and take the game. So, no, I think he's looking pretty good at the moment.
Tie.
Suddenly got very enticing, this second set. It was kind of meandering its way along and then all of a sudden burst to life in those last couple of games, and that was a warning shot across Ben Shelton's bows on his previous service game, and he'll be looking to be a little tidier coming out in this very, very crucial next game. As for Monfils, the lift will have come by the fact that he was able to hang on.
Not opening up, being tidier on that first point.
That almost got very tricky when it came down. It wasn't too far away from clipping the tape.
What a weapon that is to possess.
It sounds angry too.
Holy cow.
There were people ducking in the stadium wondering what that was.
I was moving my head because it literally swatting at the ball at full tilt.
Wow. 109 mile an hour forehand from Ben Shelton. A little swag after that one.
Gael Shelton.
Nothing that Monfils did wrong in that game. Great example of just why he is so dangerous, the American, with that serve. Football and baseball's loss in the States. Tennis's gain worldwide. A couple of sports that Ben was playing to a pretty high level when he was younger.
I think it's important for Ben to realize that he doesn't have to do that much with that kind of a ball. Gael's not hurting him a lot off the first balls. Now and then he is, but that one he steps up and he takes a rip at, but he's kind of given this notice that he's playing the rope-a-dope a little bit. If you can just get that return deep on the first ball, I think Ben can use his slice off of that first point.
Pretty explosive tennis between these two at the moment. Mixing shots like they do down at South Bank in the evening. Not that you'd know that, Brad.
I wasn't going to comment on that. I haven't had any shots since I've been here. No shots. A couple beers, maybe. That is frustrating if you're in the Ben Shelton camp. Gael giving him an absolute nothing ball.
Gael Monfils.
Frequency of aces coming fast and furiously for Monfils, making it easier to hang on to his serve. He is the first to 6 in this second set. was interesting watching Brian there actually after that point where Ben did just sort of dunk the backhand into the net, but he was looking down the other end of the court like an ex-player, trying to see whether Monfils is just kind of coming off any sort of physical discomfort or fatigue or anything else, because the way that Gael moved to the ball certainly suggested that. Whereas Roger has been giving us wonderful insights in with Gael, that's probably just the way the Frenchman wants it. Catching your attention, making you think of something else.
Yeah, for me, that movement, the way he does that sometimes, it's just part of the whole rope-a-dope.
Time.
Once again, a nice little aerial view of the greatest tennis event in the world, and it has once again welcomed record crowds through the gates here on the second Monday of the Australian Open. Players out on court now for an hour and 40 minutes. And let's once again introduce you to one of the best shots in tennis. Shelton serve.
Questionable shot selection there from Ben when you're playing Gael Monfils.
Love team.
You create a situation here where Gael's forced to play offense. He's not really playing any offense from the back of the court.
Both players flighting the ball flawlessly right to the extremities of the court there.
If I'm in the Gael Monfils camp right now, I want him to be a little bit more of a gambler in this game. Especially right there at love 15, you're in a score situation where take a little risk, try and light up a forehand. The risk reward now is much bigger to take that. Oh, that one was just too good. I questioned the first one. That's one of those ones, you know, as a coach where when it's that good, you're like, great shot. If that had sat up a little bit more like the other one.
You got the world's easiest job.
That's a bailout. Yeah, you know, I always say tennis coaches and weathermen, you can be wrong about 70% of the time and you still keep your job.
Some do.
14-10.
Well, the times, and there have been just a few in this match so far that he's been tested on serve, he has responded beautifully. Slightly more complicated way that we get to the second tiebreaker this match during the course of that second set. But that's where we land. And whereas in the opening set we were wondering who it was going to be more significant for, this does feel as though it's a must-win breaker here for the Frenchman. Puts a lot of pressure on him to produce.
much more aggressive forehand again there from Monfils.
1-0. Monfils.
And again, for me, now that we're in the breaker, you got to be a little bit more of a gunslinger.
Shelton fell into the trap of forgetting just what an extraordinary athlete Monfils is.
2-0. Monfils.
Could have done more with that and should have.
Thank you.
Giving him a gift there.
Yeah, Brad, the pressure then, he could have easily come in and taken the volley, but obviously the pressure of the moment. And, well, he's been hitting his forehand pretty well, hasn't he? Up until that moment.
Yeah, especially to that offside. Again, as I mentioned earlier, that's his favorite. That's his most dangerous forehand.
So you may have seen there, Gael's ball toss was so far in front, and so you can't get any cover on it. That's
Front and right.
Yeah,
Raj, from your vantage point down there, you have a better look at the front probably. For us, man, it was far right on that.
Here's where I think if the ball is a nice volley from up high, isn't it, to be able to execute that and put that away. Here I think is where Gael will press if he gets the opportunity. It's got a little bit of space.
Nice change up. Tracks him all the way. Impossible to get out of the way. Second set breaker. Shelton's going to have to hunt down the Frenchman.
Every point so significant in the breakers. It's a huge point for both the guys here. Wow.
Trio of perfect shots. Said he was going to pull the pin out, Roger, and he did.
Yeah. And what a different athlete he is when he's doing that. It's in full command. It allows him to have a lot more accuracy with his ball as well, because he's got a purpose with the strike.
Something a little different. And Shelton couldn't respond quickly enough.
6-3. Monfils.
Dialed through the decades of experience he has, the Frenchman, to come up with a second serve and volley for the first time in the match. And a chance now to square things up.
Second set, Monfils.
Rapturous applause for Monfils as he makes it one set apiece. Third set underway in a first meeting between these two.
Out. 15.
Always interesting after a breaker like that. The intensity level so high. See who can maintain that focus, concentration. Often see a drop off from one of the two players.
I mean, it was such hard work that second set that Roger had to go off and change his shirt.
Thank you.
We don't miss a trick up here.
No, it's tight down here.
Knowing Roger, he's probably got some dumbbells down there. So he's probably working the biceps while he's down there.
Gael Shelton.
I went off. 50 push-ups.
I'm surprised the shirt still fits.
The crowd was buzzing though. You can feel that, you know, that they wanted that set. I think they just want an extended match, obviously, with theatre, and these two guys are providing it. And Brad, I think your point's really valid. What happens in these first 10 or 15 minutes? How's that affected Ben? He probably knows he was a tiebreak away from not shutting the door completely, but gee, he's got, you know, you're 1 foot into the next round, aren't you? I know you don't like to look ahead, and for Gael now he looked at his team. He had those eyes at them and staring at them, and now he's, you know, I know he was a believer before he got onto the court, but it's changed the way this match is going to be played, I think.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right, Roger. That second set was so key for both the guys.
You think the players will notice if I do a few push-ups out here? A few court runs.
I don't think it'll throw them off. It's the norm.
Just some court runs in the break. Yeah.
Gael knows how unique you are. He'll be fine with it.
15-11.
Double digits on aces for Monfils.
Let's for service.
Can you say talent?
I can see talent.
You can. You can see it and say it. So easy there with his hand. He's so good at holding the ball. We've seen that a number of times, just freezing his opponent. No idea where he's going to hit that ball.
It's produced beautifully.
This guy. That's quite the celebration right there. We need the sound to go with that.
Ready for play.
Ben's forehand wasn't really close enough to the sideline, and Monfils makes that for fun.
Love the team.
Ben's caught kind of in a rock and a hard place here as he comes in, because volleying short against Gael Monfils is not easy. With his movement, he's going to get to the vast majority of these kind of balls. He got to that very comfortably.
I mean, that's the one I'd like to see. Oh, that is top draw stuff there from Shelton. Didn't have a lot to work with, found something a little special. That volley go back behind Gael, because he almost hits the two-play pass every single time.
Yeah, well, because he's capable of it, because it doesn't matter whether you volley it deep or you volley it short. He's going to get to it most of the time and make you have to hit another ball.
That's how quickly you have to react as well to the big change-up serve. It's like a 70k difference between his top end and his bottom end there.
Good deep aggressive return there. Gael taking a little bit more of an offensive return position there. Squared the racket face, just blocked that hard. Kind of a short, compact swing. Be interesting to see if he continues to try and take that position, or look at a second serve here. Already standing in a bit closer than where he's been throughout the first couple of sets. Oh,
Thanks. Juice.
We talked to Brian Shelton, Ben's dad, before the last match, and he talked about how they spent and committed some time in the offseason to working on Ben's volley, his position, net play in general. Great exchange. Monfils getting the better of that one.
Advantage.
A little bit more work on the ball as well. This is what happened in the last match. Gael started to up the speed in some of the extended rallies, and then he had the ball on the string for a while. I don't think this will be the case, obviously, because of Ben's big serve.
What a monster second serve. 194 on the line. And there was a lot on the line at break point. Can he find some more break point repellent here? He's going to need it. That's an amazing get again from Monfils. Miraculous. Magic from Monfils to get the first break of the match, 2-1. And sometimes, although he wouldn't want to say it right now in the heat of the battle, Ben Shelton, you got to say too good. He played that point perfectly and was just beaten by a superior athlete.
The movement. Gael Monfils. A lot of guys on the tour would tell you that he's the best mover on tour, and still potentially is.
"38 years young, the Frenchman."
Time.
Everyone in the stadium taking a little exhale. That wasn't the exhale game that Ben Shelton wanted it to be. Finally broken for the first time. His fourth time only in the tournament. But a perfect time in many ways for Monfils, because he gets the luxury of the sit down just to recover physically before stepping up to the line to deliver his service game. Good steal.
And wasn't that that's a huge body blow, isn't it? Because big servers don't generally like to be broken. There's no doubt about that. And so we're going to be very keen to watch his body language, his intensity on the court, see if he can match Gael here. This actually is a big game. And just as big for Gael, not to stop pressing.
Please.
That might be Ben's best return of the match. Interesting, Raj, interesting. Gael taking a relatively deep forehand there, and then coming in behind it. Great volley. What a volley.
Just a great recognition of what was potentially going to come back. That's the shot we've seen precious little of today, but such a valuable one. Saw Monfils in the last game, even though he was victorious in taking it, bent over double, after the 20-shot rally, a little bit more of it there. As Shelton looks to hit back straight away. Sensational Shelton. So secure.
Great job by Ben Shelton there. Keeping the rally going, keeping things alive, finding a way to maneuver the ball. Certainly could have come in on that one forehand down the line. Was a little bit cautious there on that one play, but kept himself in the point. It's amazing how first break and then it's like the floodgates open, break right back again after such a long period. Neither guy with an opportunity or an ability to close out the breaks previously.
There was a lot to admire in that rally from Ben Shelton, though, from a maturity point of view, from a shot selection point of view. When you are under pressure to swing the scoreboard back in your favour by getting the break back straight away, the fact that he reset 3 times in that rally was so impressive.
Good read there from Monfils to come forward on that ball.
Oh, he's made it. Did it deviate off the net and go in?
Little help from the net for sure there. Might have gone in anyway. It was going to be extremely close. Came off the net and was inside the line.
So he's hit his forehand down the line exceptionally well today. That's the sort of ball that you almost want to take cross court, stay in the rally, but not against Gael. He'll redirect it quickly down the line.
Let's for service.
Incredibly how quickly this has changed around, from both players coasting on serve to Suddenly every game becoming so competitive.
You see Gael there, as he was before the last point, leaning on the racket like it's a Cain. Gives you that impression like he's about to collapse. And then as soon as the point starts, he's moving like a gazelle.
Juice.
Once again, Shelton just doubling down on the pace.
Yeah, as soon as the points start, Brad, he's running a 19.5, 200. 19.5.
Electrifying leap.
Quickness, explosiveness from Ben Shelton there to get back and up on that overhead was impressive.
Unshakable self-belief Shelton has, and he needed all of it there, having gone behind by the break. He has swung things around in his favour. 3-2, third set. Perfect reaction to the first bit of adversity, really, particularly as it came off the back of losing that second set for Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. To drop serve and then battle back, get the boomerang break right back there. Gael opening the door a little bit. As Roger said, that was going to be a massively important game.
That's the pain of having to give a ball back. She's been to New York where you get to keep it. How much of this is for effect for Monfils when he's doubling up? Or is he genuinely feeling a little fatigue?
Time.
Margaret Arena playing host to this fourth round clash between these two wonderful athletes, explosive tennis players. Gael at the last quarter of his career, in the twilight of it, coming good once again for a 13th title in Auckland. If you're just joining us now, he became the oldest player to win an ATP title since Ken Rose won at Hong Kong back in 1977 when he picked up the title in New Zealand prior to coming here. Picks him off, no problem.
Yeah, that's one of the first balls that he's actually tried to pass him on the first ball. We saw the last point of the previous game that Ben came in and Gael literally just hit the ball right through the middle of the court at him. Basically said, here, hit a volley.
Talk to me, Roger, he's definitely going through something here, or is this just Gael being Gael?
Yeah, no, I'm sure he's going through something. There's, you know, what are we, 2 hours, 16 minutes into a major? They've played some pretty grueling points, and it's the fourth round. So I think there's, you know, as we all know, there's the ebbs and flows, right? So he's just probably in one of those dips at the moment, and if he can get out of it like this, that big ticks near his name in probably in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
I mean, if you did an audit of Gael Monfils' talent. I mean, in so many different departments, he'd sit right up in the top 5%, wouldn't he? I mean, just lethal pace. Languid, loose, as he levels up at 3 apiece. His apex is as good as anyone's.
It'll be very interesting here to see how he is, what he does on return game now. How much effort and energy he's going to commit to this. Little bit of luck there from Ben. I don't think he was trying to play that exactly there.
You don't feel the same way when Tommy hits that one, though, do you?
If he'd hit it like that, I would have said the exact same thing. Ben was a little late in the pocket there. He got surprised by the pace from that ball from Gael.
Ben, just if he can get a clean start to his service games, is probably going to get a couple of those at the back end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the nature of our scoring system, it's about holding serve. Gael needs to save his energy a little bit right now if he's really feeling it as bad as he looks like he is. There's a saying in Spanish that we used to use at the USTA, Federation in the United States, that I never really liked very much, but it's the direct translation to English is walk to the ball. That's literally what Gael's doing right now.
Well, he's going to walk extremely slowly to his chair. Is Monfils. Shelton, 4-3, third set. Certainly a little more pep in that man's step as he sits down there, 4-3 in the lead. Let's have a little look at what Gael's trying to do to kind of mask the fact that he is feeling it a bit. He's trying not to run perhaps as much. Let's have a look at his second serve return, average hit point in sets 1 and 2. He actually didn't do a bad job against Ben in both sets 1 and 2. He's been above 60%, the American, for the tournament on second serve points won. So the fact that he dropped him down to 50% in the second was good. But obviously it is going to take more time to build pressure in a rally if you're that far back. So he has dropped up, as you can see there, a couple of meters, 3 meters in fact, up inside and right up on the baseline. But how much of that is due to strategy? How much is that because he's running on vapor? We're about to find out. I don't know much about this game, Brad, but I would imagine that when you have a sort of statement at the USJ National Tennis Center that is translated in a sport like this with walk to the ball, but I don't know. For me personally, it doesn't resonate quite as much with this sport that I watch as maybe it should.
Yeah,
what am I missing?
I don't want to. During the period of time that I was there, they stopped using it.
Really? Why? It's strange to me.
I said it made no sense.
No wonder you guys are improving rapidly.
Great play from Gael. shortening the point there a little bit. Sorry, Raj?
They know something we don't know, Mark.
You know, I asked Sam Querrey one time what walk to the ball meant to him, and he said, why would I do that?
Boys, when Gael's in this mode where he's trying to conserve energy, how good and big is his ball striking? It's out there, isn't it?
That's what you're saying. You know, it's vodka clear. His apex in these kind of moments is as good as anyone's.
He's actually become much more dangerous as he's gotten into this mode, trying to shorten the points.
Great shot. I love that shot from Ben. I still don't think he uses it as much as he should.
The forehand hook across court, outside of the ball. He's kind of a natural outside of the ball hitter. That ball should be a very natural and comfortable shot for him. Roger, have you noticed down there on the changeovers, has Gael been eating? Has he been taking gels? Has he been doing anything on the changeovers to try and maintain his energy level?
He's taken a gel, but he doesn't eat a lot. Gael, he's not a big banana guy or anything like that. So he's just sort of working his way through. The forward half of the court now for Ben's available, isn't it? Because Gael's not going to chase too much unless he feels like the scoreboard suggests that he should.
Crazy good return. Crazy good return. Just a little sort of almost continental grip there and just guided it to the baseline. Oh, that is some pickup. A lot of distractions down the other end. I hope Gael is okay.
He kind of hyperextended there a little bit, Raj.
Hard to see. I was actually watching the return. I feel like it was ankle.
Yeah, no, it was. I think it was more felt it in his Achilles a little bit, is where he was touching. We saw it on the replay. It looked like he kind of pushed the foot out and it slid out from under him.
And it's interesting for Ben at the moment, isn't it? Because he can't play the images up the other end. You've got to just stay in your lane and look after your side of the court.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing, Roger, just the second before you started talking, because we're so focused on what's going on with Gael right now. It's not easy when you're Ben Shelton down at the other end and you're looking at a guy who looks wounded.
Yeah, it's easy to get a little undertow when your opponent's doing what Gael is down the other end. But it's a necessity for the Frenchman. Ben keeping his focus very nicely, 5-4. And also very important for Shelton to keep on the front foot here, to move Gael in these moments. We've seen how lethal Gael is with a bit of time on the ball from the middle of the court. He can distribute the ball anywhere off both wings. So actually, as much as he is physically in a bit of discomfort right now, you just put the ball back into play. You're actually giving Gael what he wants.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful. You got to Ben's played extremely aggressive tennis and does play extremely aggressive tennis. He's got to maintain that. He's got to keep trying to dictate. The more he can dictate and control the point, and I think Roger's exactly right. Use that front part of the court right now. Gael's giving you a sign that if you hit a halfway decent drop shot, he's not coming forward for that.
Time.
I feel as though time is passing just a little bit quicker on those changeovers at the moment, Monfils.
Now, we did see him taking a gel there. He had a little bit of some type of a liquid, a little drink that he was taking, maybe an electrolyte drink or something with also a little bit of extra energy to kickstart him a little bit. Too good.
15 left.
Gael's forgiving because he's got a daughter. Baby in the crowd just crying.
Legs were back in that point. Credit to Ben. He was doing exactly what we talked about. More aggressive ball striking, dictating what was going on, making Gael work. Gael was actually moving that point. He wasn't walking to the ball there.
Thank you. Let's for service.
Scary game. Boutique collection of world-class shots. 7th backhand winner. And Shelton, the ultimate quizmaster in there, just kept asking the question. The Frenchman with all the answers.
frustrating if you're Ben Shelton to see your opponent standing there kind of flat-footed, just kind of stroking balls back into the court. There were a couple there that he hit, I mean, extremely slow, and then you make a decent play coming forward and the guy just passes you like you're standing still. But again, like we spoke about, if you're in the Shelton camp, if you're Ben Shelton, you step up here, get a good hold.
5 games old.
Which he will most likely do with that cannon that he has for a serve. A lot of psychology involved right now with what's going on there. A lot of physicality, the physical aspects of what's happening with Gael leads to the psychological aspects of what's going on out here as well.
15. Switch it on, please. Thank you.
Foul.
Continue.
Extreme speed attached to that one at 219. Simply done in the end. This time it's Shelton who's first to 6 in this third set.
6 games.
Speed he's walking, he's not going to have a lot of time to, when he sits down, to put anything in his mouth or get himself ready for the next game. James Governor is going to call time. Simple part of this for Gael right now is that he's not having to contemplate what tactics to use. He knows exactly what he's got to do. He doesn't really have any options at his disposal until his second or third win kicks in.
Time.
Closing in on 7:30 local time here in Melbourne as the sun starts sliding down. The temperature's still pretty warm and still all to play for in this fourth round match between Shelton and Monfils. Great discipline from the younger American so far in this little sequence here where Monfils is just lasering shots at will.
Thank you. 30 love.
Eighth double.
That's a bad error if you're Ben Shelton. That was a perfect ball to spread the court a little bit. You didn't have to do a lot there. Just make Monfils move. Get him on the run a little.
All three sets
games all.
have the same destination. Who's going to take the prime location into the fourth set?
Thank you.
Great pass from Monfils. Held that ball. Ben overcommitting a little bit. Head leaning forward. Just found the corner there though.
1-all.
Better job of spreading the shots around. Try and find a ball to open the court as early as he possibly can in these exchanges.
2-1. Monfils.
How good was that? That was a rocket. Talking about risk and reward.
Shelton.
Never dilutes his own potential success with self-destructiveness, Shelton. So positive. What a lovely combo.
4-2.
Open up the space with the hook forehand once again.
Interesting to me that Gael doesn't seem to be making an effort in any way to avoid the forehand. Hasn't really played much into the backhand corner now for a while.
5-2. Shelton.
Massive lead for Ben Shelton now, given the entire situation. Really, he's in a position here to, he's got 2 to make 1. Drop a couple of first serves. Third set's in your pocket.
Given the fact that he lost his opening point on serve in this tiebreaker, this has been a seriously good passage of play from the American.
Absolutely, and he's done what you said earlier, Mark. He was being a little bit affected by Gael and what was going on, and he's gotten himself back to being focused on himself and playing his game.
What a collection of forehand winners in that tiebreaker from Ben Shelton. He's a special player, and that was a special performance. 2-1 he leads.
He definitely had a little bit more life and pace in his step coming back on the court and coming out to serve than he did when we saw him leaving. Be interesting to see his movement here early on. Ben really needs to stay focused on what he was doing there in the breaker and spreading the ball around. Look for that offside forehand especially. That's his biggest weapon off the ground. Two quick airs from Gael. See him patting his leg right there. Wincing in the face as well. Still so dangerous.
15-13.
Kind of crazy, isn't it? Without any kind of leg push, he's still pushing sort of 200 Ks with that first serve, and accurate.
He's got such a loose arm.
Ladies, second service. Ladies, second service.
Well, at the start of the match, that was not the wheelhouse this man wanted to be operating in longer rallies. It is now. Treacherous waters at the start of the fourth for Monfils to try and navigate his way out of. Can't do it. And you do get that sinking feeling for the Frenchman.
Game, fourth set.
And I love the way Ben took that game on as well, because he was verbal as well. And so he was, A, keeping himself up, and also letting Gael know that I'm here, I'm pressing. So that was a lot of maturity in that game.
been working hard on the X's and O's, as Brad's been saying, in the off-season. He also, just prior to that run to the semi-finals of the US Open, he also did the X's and O's on his racket as well, changed up his string, went to a different sort of hybrid, and then it went up 3 pounds on the cross strings versus the mains. Normally it had a normal sort of uniformed string tension, which gave him more control on the returns. I doubt that's probably the last change he makes with his rackets and equipment, but that was a significant one.
Ready for play.
It's not always a placebo effect, is it, Brad? Sometimes it really does make a big difference.
The string tension.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we see Gael here in discussion with his camp. Michael Tillström there, former player, been working with Gael for a while.
He's done 25th retirement coming up here for Gael Monfils, and what has been an absolutely epic start to the season for him, winning another title.
Unfortunately, due to injury, Mr. Monfils can no longer play. Game 7 match, Shelton.
Two of the most charismatic characters out there on the tour, with loads of respect. Ben spoke glowingly about Monfils and the highlights he's watched of the Frenchman over the years, the inspiration that he's been to him as a tennis player. And that is a lovely moment, because it just may be